Hey and welcome to Tech Tips with me, Jacob. Today we're gonna do a comparison video with the Insta360 Ace Pro and the GoPro Hero 12. And those two action cameras, and they are fairly similar. The GoPro has a front screen that you can see yourself in. The Insta only has settings in it, but it does come with a flip screen. So you get that to look at instead, which is bigger than the GoPro in general, like you see here. I can say that this is actually fairly useful if you do shots low on the ground and you don't want to actually lay down on the ground. You can just flip the screen to wherever you are to avoid some glare and such, which is actually quite nice. I like that feature. You just always have to remember that if you have a flip screen, be careful so you don't break it. That would be a weak spot otherwise. Other things that are special about these guys is they have the battery to take out. The Insta Go 3 had an internal battery and the 4K had a different kind of battery. Difference otherwise is you can see that this is only the battery on this side, and whilst the GoPro has everything in one. So it has the charging port, the memory card and the battery in the same port right there. Which is handy in one way, but if you're going to do time lapses with the cable connected, you kind of want to have the battery not to be able to fall out. So on this one, it has a separate for the card and the charging, which is nice. So if you're going to have a power bank to it, or if you're going to do time lapses for a long time, it's good to have it connected. There we go. They've updated the battery on the GoPro to handle cold a little bit better. Other features is this little guy has both open app, the action camera attachment, but if you fold these down, it has a 1/4 inch amount as well. So if you have a regular screw, you can use that. They do recommend if you use a lot of actiony things that you use the GoPro one. Anyways, this one has the GoPro mount as well here. Actually, I don't unscrew that, but it has also a quick release, which this one doesn't. So if you just pinch these two buttons here, the entire thing comes off. So this is a magnet and clasp, so it's very secure, but it's very easy to just pop it off and pop it onto something else if you have multiple of these. You just kind of just click it in, hook it in, and click it in, like that. There you go. And this one is a one-time sticky mount, so you can stick it somewhere and just put it in. It's not the reusable one that the Go 3 had, just so you're aware. It says on the tiny text on it, just so you're aware, it's a sticky one. All right, so now we've done some tests, and I'm going to go through them with you so you can see how they fared. So the first thing we did was just a high resolution test. I had a box here sitting in the frost, which I can just look at here. You can see it's nice colors, nice detail, but then when we push in on the box, you can see that Insta is actually a bit sharper than the GoPro in this test here. I wasn't happy with just the one shot of the box, so I went out and shot some more on one of these icy days. Here's a shot of a tiny creek that looks nice and shiny. Here is the GoPro zoomed in 3 times, and here is the Insta as well. You can see the Insta has a bit more detail here in the snow. I needed some more details in the shot, so I took this tree trunk. Here is the GoPro zoomed in to about 3 times and about at 1 meter's distance from the tree trunk. Here is the Insta. At this distance, the Insta has more detail in the shot. I moved up closer to about 30 centimeters distance. And here is the GoPro. And here is the Insta. You can see that the GoPro has an edge over the Insta in this shot at this distance. Just for fun, I did some of the shots with the Insta360 ONE RS, just so you can see the difference from the older 4K version. And then of course I did the classic flip it around and do the selfie mode, which is where it's really tricky to see everything. You can see yourself in this little screen, but it's hard to see what's in the background, so if something happened behind you, you wouldn't really know. Meanwhile, this one had the big screen that flips out, and it gives you a little square where your face is, so you know that you're in focus. Quality-wise though, if you look at it, I found that the Insta was quite saturated in the colors, and there was a bit more detail in the GoPro. But I mean, ease of use, I like the Insta for how I can actually see myself and see what's in the background as well. So quality-wise, they're still both excellent, of course. We did a little bit of stabilisation test. So you can see here, without the stabilisation, it's just bouncing around. I just stuck them to the top of a RC car and drove around a bit. But when you kick in the stabilisation here, it becomes really smooth. And that's where the action cameras really shine. It is the stabilisation, of course. That's where you get them. So you'll be able to do all of that jiggling around and still be fine. The GoPro has a lock, horizontal lock. So even if the GoPro spins, the picture stays the same, which is good for you bouncing around and doing things, so you can always have the right vertical limit. So that's awesome. We can check out the slow-mo, and like I said before, in 4K they can both do 120, which is very good. But it's always, I always like using more frames, so 240 is actually much more fun to play with, but you get less resolution, but it looks so smooth. So here you see the car driving by and a whole bunch of things, and you see there's not much difference in the slow-mo. It looks great on both of them, so that looks good. Here in the battery test, I put it on both on 1080p at 60 frames, just because I didn't want to fill up the card instantly with 8K. But in that test, the Insta lasted for an hour and a half, and the GoPro lasted for 2 hours. So that's actually pretty good. I have found though in GoPro that you have to unplug the battery if you're going to leave it a long time, because it tends to deplete. But that's just been my experience. It might not be a general thing, but something to look out for. That's our little tests with the GoPro and the Insta. You can pick whichever you want, of course. They both have their pros and cons. You can have a little bit higher resolution in the 240 and the GoPro. You go up to 2K and you have 1080 in this one. But I mean, then it comes down to usability and how you want to use it. And the screen's awesome. It's a little bit heavier than this one, a little bit bigger. So depending if you want to have it on your head, it might be better to have a lighter one. But you saw the resolution, you saw everything else, so you can make your own decision. They're both great cameras. All right, if you like this kind of video, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next test and the next videos later. See you guys.